You ready to dye some yarn? Okay. Wool Tincture Dyes.
Ooh, look at the color! Yay!
Hey folks, welcome to my kitchen. I got some bare yarn from KnitPicks, as well as some of the Wool Tincture Dyes. And I'm going to be trying to dye yarn. Dye my own yarn that I can then knit up into a shirt and a sweater. So I got enough to definitely do the shirts quantity in this dusty rose. And then I probably should have gotten an additional thing of the sage for the sweater quantity, but what I'm hoping it will do is just have an ever so slightly lighter color. Might be a little bit of an experiment. We will find out how successful I am. I do believe that I've got enough of the citric acid that it shouldn't be an issue, especially like because that's more of like per the water. So yes, the two yarns that I have, so the one that I'm going to be doing in the sage color is Andean Treasure. It is sport weight, 100% baby alpaca. And this is the softest yarn I have ever touched. Like, I opened the bag and put my hand in, and my brain didn't register I was touching anything until I looked at it. It was like, oh, it's touching. It's just that soft and squishy. So yes, I am planning on making a sweater out of this. I think the sweater I'm planning on making, I'll put a picture up here. It's one by Sari Nordland. It reminds me of the storm sweater, so I'll probably talk about the differences between the two, but it is a DK weight pattern. But I did check, and a couple people have done it in sport weight, and it looked fine, as well as doing a little bit of research. It seems like sport weight can kind of get substituted at times for DK. You're just going to end up with a lighter, maybe slightly more open fabric, which I think is fine, as well as I think because the baby alpaca, let's try and show. If you can see that. Hi, kiddo. You want to film? You want to be a part of it? Yeah. Okay. You can help me in just a second. I think because the baby alpaca is going to have a little bit of a halo, and I'm hoping will bloom, that it will work for the DK. What am I doing? I'm telling people about my plans to dye the yarn. Are you going to help me? With my toddler. Slight adjustment as the toddler wants to be involved. So yes, I will definitely do a gauge swatch to make sure that I like the way the fabric fits for that. And then the color that I'm going to dye, the Dusty Rose, and this is the one I'm going to start with because I definitely have the right quantity of dye to yarn. You're supposed to have so much per 100 grams, is Galileo. And this also is a sport weight. It is 50% merino. Yes, 50% merino and 50% viscose from bamboo. So I thought this would make a really nice, warm weather, fall, spring shirt. I have been enjoying the stockinette stuff that I've been doing, the color work and lace, but I kind of want just some texture that's just knitting and purling, and I really like the way that looks, and I think it will work very well in this. Again, I will swatch it up, and we'll see how it goes. So yes, let me go get everything set up, and I will take you along this journey of using a wool tincture dye and really hoping that everything turns out the way I'm envisioning it. And it's Valkyrie! And Valkyrie's going to help me too.
And Bunny's going to my finger's not pink.
No, you ready to dye some yarn? Okay. Let's go! I'm using a stainless steel bowl. It is non-reactive. The important thing is to have something that is non-reactive, like glass or stainless steel. So I have a giant stainless steel bowl that I got at IKEA, along with some tongs so I can pick up the yarn and transfer it. I've got my water on boiling, and I've got a candy thermometer so I make sure it doesn't get like too hot. I did realize after I put the yarn in the water to soak that I think I should have added a couple more like loops with some spare yarn, a different color to make it easy to see like where to pick it up, as well as to keep it from tangling, because I'm now really concerned I have a giant tangled mess of yarn. So we're going to be very careful transferring and then like stirring to try and just not have a giant mess and that I will have to deal with later. Ooh, did I make a mistake? We're going to find out. All mixed together. The citric acid is in, so it is striking. You can see right there. And now I just have to let everything cool off. It did say that you can take it out with tongs while it's still hot and put it in a spin like dryer or washing machine, like just on the spin, not adding any additional water or anything to get the excess moisture out. I think because I've got multiple skeins in there and I didn't like add additional ties around them, I'm not going to do that because that's going to result in a giant tangled mess. So instead, I'm going to let it cool down to room temperature or cool enough for me to touch. And then I'm going to very carefully remove each skein, squeeze out the excess water, wrap them in towels, nice and gentle, squeeze out the water, and then let it hang to dry. And once it's completely dry, we shall see. So I will bring you along with the hopefully that's not just a giant tangled tumbled mess. Look at that! I'm so excited to see how this turns out. It's been a couple of hours and this is cooled down. It's still warm, but like I can put my hands in it and it's not like, ooh, that's too hot. It is the next day and the yarn has dried. This is the first skein. Really happy with this color. It looked a little bit more saturated when it was wet. Was expecting that. There is some slight variations in color. I think just where, like around here where the string was, or it was bunched up and it didn't get exposed as much. Maybe I should have agitated the yarn, like mixed it around a little bit more to help make sure the dye reached all of the yarn, but especially because I didn't tie this, I didn't want to end up with a giant mess. So this is the kind of least tangly of the skeins. I'm gonna try winding it up, caking it up into a nice little ball. So wish me luck. That went a lot smoother than I was expecting.
Look, Mommy, where'd it go?
Where'd what go?
The younger.
It's all on here.
Oh.
We took it from being a skein into a cake, so that it's easier to knit. Yay! Oh, that's so pretty. I love how the color looks. So yeah, you can definitely see there's... No, hi. Don't look at me. Definitely see there's some like variation in the color, but I think also some of that is the bamboo viscose that's in here. You want your... Okay, give me a sec. I think the bamboo viscose that's in here is giving it a little bit of that like sheen. Ooh, that's gonna look really nice. Like the texture, the light hitting this and the texture, or maybe do I want to make something lace with this? I'm gonna knit up the gauge swatch and see how I feel about the gauge swatch first before I really decide on the project. Yay! Okay, I'm gonna try and get all the other three into nice little cakes. Probably isn't gonna go as smooth as this one, but I don't know. Maybe I'll surprise myself and I will check back in later. So I have dyed the yarn. It's dried completely and I've got some of it caked up. I have one nice neat cake. This was the first one that I did. And then the second two are in balls because it did not go how I would hope. The first ball went much better. Oh no. Definitely needed to put more of those strings in to help kind of keep the skein together, keep it from getting tangled. Because I had a couple loops that, couple spots where the loop kind of went different directions. And the first one, as soon as I got it on the yarn skein, I realized like I'm not going to be able to use the ball winder, so I just wound it into a ball because I could then pass the ball like under stuff. The second skein that I did, I thought I was going to be able to get away with using the ball winder, but also I didn't. I spent about an hour and a half winding each of those two balls. I still have a third that I need to do, but I think I'm going to do that at a later date. So yes, I've definitely learned like to add more of those strings in to help hold the skein together. I'm still planning on dyeing the alpaca yarn, but I'm going to do that at a later date. I really enjoyed the dyeing process. It was really fun seeing how the colors turned out. I did knit up a little test swatch with this. Really happy with how it looks and everything. The color on this turned out a little bit more purple than I was expecting. I was expecting a little bit more of a like pink rose color. I think it is like dusty. Yes, that definitely got it. And I'm wondering maybe if the bamboo viscose just leaned it a little bit more towards the cool tone from a True Rose and kind of pushed it into that purple. I'm not upset about the color. It's just not necessarily exactly what I was expecting, which I think, you know, definitely a learning curve with dyeing yarn. I'll be excited to see how the sage turns out. I will definitely update y'all on that once I get around to dyeing that. The sage I'm definitely anticipating is going to end up being lighter than the kind of sample photos because I have less dye to yarn, but I'm kind of expecting that going in. We'll see how it actually turns out. And I also feel like the green, like, I like a lot more shades of green. I'm so happy with how this turned out. It's just not quite the color I was expecting, which I'm not upset about, but I'm gonna call this first experiment into dyeing my own yarn a success. I have yarn that is dyed that I've been able to knit up something with. I'm gonna make a whole shirt with it. Very excited. I ended up deciding to do the Staff and Light, the shirt, not the tank. Just when I was looking at the Isono, I realized I was either going to not have enough yarn or be like playing it real close on Yarn Chicken, and especially because this is something that I'm not going to be able to just like go out and buy another skein, I didn't want to risk Yarn Chicken. But the Staff and Light, I'm doing the DK version. I should have plenty of yarn to do that. It's also top down, so I can make it cropped if I need to. So yes, thank you for coming along with my yarn dyeing journey. I'd love to know if you've dyed yarn. Do you have any suggestions? Did I make any mistakes that you were watching this video and being like, oh no, don't do that? Let me know, because then we can learn from it in the future. I think definitely before I do the next one, I'm going to try and do a little bit more research, maybe watch a few more videos. Like I followed the directions that the yarn dye came with and did a little bit of like, little tiny bit of research, but didn't really do a whole ton because I wanted to see like how accurate was the instructions on that. And I think it turned out great. I think needed to do a little bit more prep with the yarn to make the winding process easier on myself. If you want some more kind of day-to-day updates, make sure that you are following me on Instagram, and I'll be sure to post the project on Ravelry once it is done. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.